Alrighty, guys, we're back for Is It Dragons? And this is a Foundation Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments. So thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. Rockin' Sarkhan, Soul of Flame. It's a 3-mana 2/4. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Nice. Whenever a dragon you control enters, you may have Sarkhan become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan and it's a legendary in addition to its other types. We have a whole bunch of dragons in here that we're going to have fun copying with the Sarkhan, like Twinflame Tyrant, for example, is a 5-mana 3/5 with flying. Of course, it's a dragon. And if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. So you can imagine having a couple of these on the board. That's a lot of excess damage all of a sudden. It'll also pair beautifully with Terror of the Peaks, also a pretty good one to copy with that Sarkhan, huh? 5-mana 5/4 with flying. Spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. And then whenever another creature you control enters, Terror of the Peak deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Cool stuff, man. And we also have a couple of Bonehoard Dracosaurs also helping us see a little bit of extra things off the top. But we're actually just going Dracosaur because it's not legendary. As you can see, our top end dragons just aren't legendary, and that's kind of important when you're copying it, especially when Sarkhan isn't the only way to copy our top end dragons. We'll go over that in just a second, because our final top end dragon is actually Incinerator of the Guilty. 6 mana, 6/6 flying trample. And the trample will actually come in handy because there's going to be there's first of all a lot of chump blockers in standard, but there's actually a lot of flyers in standard too. Like Deep Cavern Bat, that's always fun to trample over, right? Anyways, when this deals combat damage to a player, you may collect evidence X, and when you do, Incinerator of the Guilty deals X damage to each creature and planeswalker that player controls. And it's actually not the only board wipe we have packed in. We have all 4 ill-timed explosions. Nice. That should do the thing. And there's actually going to be a lot of moments where you might just discard, when you discard 2 off of this, you discard another ill-timed explosion and just need to do 4 damage to everything, right? I'd say that happens quite often when you're running all 4 ill-timed explosions in here, but when you're not wiping the board, you're drawing 2, and drawing is pretty darn important, isn't it? So I mentioned other ways to copy our dragons. We have three steps ahead. That'll do the thing as the counter spell, but every now and then you'll pay 4. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. Again, when you're copying something like Terror of the Peaks or Twinflame Tyrant, that's pretty darn good. I mean, any of these would be terrific to copy, right? So not the only counterspell we have packed in. We actually are rocking a 1 of Negate, which I don't think is going to miss very often. And we actually have 3 Phantom Interference too. For a bit of, well, more counterspells, first of all, but then also to fit the tempo side of this deck a little bit. There's going to be moments where we actually miss with the counterspell, but later on, we just want an extra flyer onto the board. 2/2 Flying Spirit really does come in handy. Now, with all these counterspells and whatnot, we are actually rocking a good bit of tempo with all 4 unsummons. And guys, it's important that this hits our creatures too if we want it to, because we have a lot of creatures that we really do want to protect, but then also there might be moments where we do protect a chunky dragon just to play it down on the next turn and maybe get some extra damage from Terror of the Peaks. Or again, the Sarkhan ability, whenever a dragon you control enters, you have this become a copy so you can protect your dragon, play the dragon next turn, have the Sarkhan become that dragon. That's actually really neat, right? Now, Into the Flood Maw is also just a really powerful tempo piece. So this one cannot hit our creatures, but we still have a couple of them in here because it's pretty darn good, isn't it? We have ways to give our top-end dragons haste, like Bitter Reunion, also just acting as more cards draw too, and a Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind acting as ramp, and another way to give our top-end dragons haste, which is going to be pretty good, man. This time around, I'm not opting for all 4 of them this time, though. I think 3 is really going to fit this one. I guess I should go over this real quick, right? It taps for a red source, and then if that mana is spent on a dragon creature spell, it gains haste. That's pretty darn good, especially with the Incinerator or something, right? Oh, more tempo plays, guys. Aetherize making the cut as a 2 of. It's a 4 mana instant speed, return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. You kind of count this as just another board wipe in here too. I was trying to think of the current standard, like how many instances would Aetherize just not work in? I can't think of many instances, man. So I really want to see this do a thing today. Mana base, 4 Fabled Passage. Okay. We got 4 Lighthouse in here too. Enters tapped unless a player has 13 or less life. Don't worry, guys. We'll have 13 or less life by turn 2. No, but seriously, these common Duskmourn lands or dual lands, I feel like they're criminally underplayed. I think it'll do the thing in here and it'll do it well. So we got Thundering Falls as well. Just going for Surveil land because why not? I guess this could be the Scry land in here too, and that really wouldn't affect too much else. So yeah, not opting for any fast land. Hopefully we'll be fine. We do have an even split in the mana base. We're close enough to an even split between red and blue. Honorable mentions, guys. It feels a little weird playing dragons, but not playing Invasion of Tarkir. It feels super weird. And Dragonhawk is legendary, so it didn't make the cut this time, but boy oh boy, is it a good dragon that I really like playing with. And then I actually considered Rite of the Dragon Caller too on the top end another time, right? Maybe like a full dedicated build to Rite of the Dragon Caller. That could be neat. Okay, guys, I do my dandies to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. Actually, guys, I need to, hold on. I need to pause the video. We got to put some dragons. Yeah, hold on. There we go. Much better. Okay, let's take this into some ranked. All right, guys, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, though, what am I expecting from the build? Dude, I think it's going to be pretty darn good, which has me concerned. What I should say is I think it's going to be super duper janky, and then it'll do terrific throughout the video, right? But no, honestly, I think it's going to be better than the mono red dragons that we brought to the table a couple weeks ago. But we'll see. Okie dokies. I don't mind this hand. The opponent goes first. Keep it, and we'll see if we draw a red source, and we'll wait on the Fabled Passage if we do. If not, though, we'll just go right into Fabled Passage, grab a mountain, so we have the turn 2 Bitter Reunion on time. Uh-oh. That's bad news. Probably Bitter Reunion. Right? I guess it depends what they have in hand, though. It could be Ill-Timed Explosion if they plan on dumping a bunch of creatures. Oh, Unsummon. Wow. Incinerator of the Guilty. I really don't want to thin the deck list here, but we're going to stay on task and try to set up the turn 2 Bitter Reunion. It'd be like a Deep Cavern Bat, then grab the Bitter Reunion, right? It is going to be a Deep Cavern Bat too. So at that point, we could just decide not to thin the deck list, but I think I'm going to anyways. Getting a red source on the board is probably going to be pretty important. All right. So far, so good. Oh! That's great news for us. I was going to say, so far so good for mono black, right? But that's good news. We have Bitter Reunion. They don't know we have 4 ill-timed explosions in here, though, so. All right. With the Thundering Falls, we want double red on the board. There's probably a good chance of just seeing more mana. I want to keep my dragons, too, so we'll ditch a land. And hopefully that's fine. Yeah, more land. That's good. That's good. And we do have some ramp packed in, too, that we could draw into as well, so I think that would have been pretty bad to ditch the land there. Go for the swing, and Liliana? No, okay, that's great news. Right, Sarkhan off the top. Oh, I don't want it to die to spot removal, but I guess we try it. Right? I guess. They got 4 cards in hand. I could only imagine it's spot removal, especially since they didn't play anything last turn. I think that tells us a lot about what's in their hand. But I feel like it would be weird not to try it, right? Anoint with Affliction. Okay. Right now, we're not in immediate danger, but an Archfiend could change that. A Bloodletter could change that, bro. Holy cow, we gotta go. Oh, Unsummon. Oh, thank goodness. Unsummon will hit Deep Cavern Bat, so we have the ill-timed explosion. Probably ditch the Incinerator because we're pretty far from it, but let's see what we see on the Surveil. Well, crap. I guess I keep that. Right. I guess I keep that. We're going to need the tempo plays. So, I guess we wait until the very end because we don't want to bounce the bat. And then they, oh, okay, they're going to play another Bloodletter, actually. That's a lot of damage if we don't bounce a Bloodletter, but we need the ill-timed explosion. Crap, dude. Okay, because Bloodletter's 2 doubles, then it doubles. We're going down to 9, right? But ill-timed explosion needs to wipe them both out this turn. So another Unsummon will be good, but I guess they can pick that up with the Deep Cavern Bat anyways. Yeah, we'll go for the discard of... There's our mana. Dracosaur has First Strike. Incinerator's still a beast of a card, though. I guess we'll go Dracosaur and Mountain. 5 damage to everything. It's good. It's really good. Unsummon is open and available. You know what, guys? You know what? Keeping the Dracosaur... So Incinerator is another board wipe when it comes time, which is why we ended up keeping it. However, keeping double Dracosaur in hand means that when their Deep Cavern Bat comes down, really their best bet. Okay, good tempo play. We're actually going to take the time to do this too. It's good. It's good, man. It's good. Wow. Okay, we could totally keep a counterspell open. Or we could play Dracosaur. I guess counterspell, right? Because if they try to play a Bloodletter, we counter it and then get a 2/2 down. I'll make them pay the extra 2, and we'll get a 2/2 down. Sound good? Yeah, I'll go for it. If the Deep Cavern Bat counter actually land, they do pay the 2. They want to grab one of the dragons. They don't know we have the other Dracosaur. And that would be the grab, I would say. So mana off the top would be great. Pretty much anything. That time round, since we passed it back, the opponent knew to play around a counterspell, but also they were probably playing around more tempo since we had the second Unsummon there. All right. That's not bad, is it? That does bring Incinerator down to 5 if it sticks around. We're at 9. I'm actually not going to go for the swing. Keep the flyer as a blocker for the Deep Cavern Bat. They don't know. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. They knew about the Incinerator of the Guilty for a while. I was going to say they don't know if our last card is another Phantom, but they do. Unholy Annex. I think it'll be worthwhile. They do have a cut down here for the swing with the Deep Cavern Bat. This cut down doesn't hit the Sarkhan. I guess that makes sense. They get a swing. So what ends up happening here, if we see mana, we have a really good swing next turn. They go down to 21. We find Aetherize, which also could be really good. And this is still a pretty darn good swing, isn't it? As we'll go Incinerator. Take action. Swing. This is good. This is really good, man. Collect evidence and deals X damage to each creature and planeswalker. So we can do X is 1, right? And collect evidence with Phantom Interference. 1 damage to the Deep Cavern Bat. And we get Bonehoard Dracosaur back to hand. Wow. Wow, dude. Anyone's game. This is a good one so far. I'd love to see this Aetherize do something, but at the same time, I'd love it for just, if I could just get some good dragon damage through here. Go for the throw. If it's another spot removal for the Sarkhan, then... Oh, they grabbed the Dracosaur again. But now they know we have Aetherize, which definitely sucks. because now they can play around that effectively. They go down to 13. We find Twinflame Tyrant off the top. Holy cow, guys. You want to talk about forcing a block here. We're going for it, bro. Take action. Haste. We're going for this. This is crazy. Oh my goodness. What is that? If they let it go, 24 damage? Something like that. GG opponent. GG, bro. That was cool. We got to see everything. We got to see the tempo side of things. We got to see the dragon side of things. We got to see Sarkhan really do a thing. Or Sarkhan, however we pronounce it. Woo, buddy, you can't ask for a better first game. Wow. That was fun. Let's keep the ball rolling. And already in that match, it did kind of feel a little bit better than the mono red. We kind of flooded a lot in the mono red. We could have had a bit more card draw to try to filter that out, but see, we got a lot of card draw packed into this one, don't we? Especially with all 4 ill-timed explosions doubling as our board wipes. Opponent goes first. I'm not going to mulligan. This would be a silly one to mulligan. Like, we could try to find more dragons and stuff, but I don't know, man. That'd be weird. Heartfire Hero. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, let's get the Thundering Falls, get the Surveil. Try to look for faster things. Sometimes you're in danger either way when they go first. They got the Heartfire Hero turn 1, and now, like, by turn 3, it could be over. So regardless of filtering out the Sarkhan, I don't know what would be faster that we could find. Some unsummons off the top, I guess, right? Manifold Mouse, okay. So we do have our untapped land. Lighthouse will be untapped next turn. Phantom Interference is going to have to put in some work, I would say. Or Negate, right? I guess that could do it too. Because double strike on the hero. The hero's a 3/3, and then something like a Monstrous Rage would just be way too much for us to deal with. Oh crap, dude, it's just double Swift Spear. I'm gonna stick to it, man. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm hoping that that last mountain is a much better counter spell. That might not work out in our favor, dude. It might not work out. Ditching Sarkhan for an unsummon would, of course, be, like, terrific, but... Alright, so Monstrous Rage, the prowess still goes through as well, but Monstrous Rage was a very good target, and we're actually going to opt for the Negate over the Phantom Interference. Since they only got 3 mana, we can still hit a pretty good Phantom Interference, I think. Still a great turn for the opponent, but we ended up negating 6 damage total there. So Lighthouse comes down, and ill-timed explosion would be the best thing for the turn, but see, that's only if we would have went first. We would have had that. So at that point, we could go Bitter Reunion and try to find... We have a blocker here too, I guess. I guess the Sarkhan works as well. I think we're dead either way. But Bitter Reunion, try to find the unsummon for the Heartfire hero, but then the Manifold Mouse gets double strike. Oh, Ball Lightning, let's go, opponent. Pretty fun. That's cool. So we have the chump on the hero, and then drop him the good game. Ball Lightning. Keep an eye on that one, guys. As a 1 or 2 of on the top end, I could totally see it. I can totally see it. Especially after you see your 4th and you're throwing things at the opponent's face anyways, right? All right, 50%. Yeah, if we went first, yeah, maybe we would have been okay. But probably not, because even if we would have popped the Heartfire hero, we still would have been taking the extra Heartfire hero damage as well. So it's tough to say. We would have needed much more tempo early on, which is all something to consider. Opponent goes first. Okay. We'll keep this. We got faster land this time. And we might actually just go for... Oh. Lighthouse. Nice. That's good. That's a good draw. Jeskai colors. Barbed Batter Fist. Okay. Okay, opponent. Probably keep Interference open over Bitter Reunion here. Thundering Falls. It's not going to be anything. They pass it back. Well, crap. Nothing to counter. That kind of sucks. More mana, I guess, isn't terrible. I'm going to be taking another 3 next turn. But we want to go for the ramp on the orb. I guess, I was going to say, I guess they could have a counter spell. I don't know what we're up against right now, guys. I was expecting something. Oh, crap, dude. That would have been a good counter. Okay, Jeskai artifacts, right? That's cool. We definitely need to thin the deck now. We're kind of in danger. I think the swing with Dracosaur is still worth it. Put the opponent in danger instead. But some spot removal, and if it's like clean spot removal, like Get Lost, then this is heavily leaning towards the opponent. But we'll see, won't we? And Get Lost would be the choice spot removal for this one, right? Because at the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts, there's like moments where you could pop your own creature, get a couple artifacts off of your own Get Lost then, right? Just so you can get some extra 3/3s. Spring-Loaded Saw Blades hitting a tapped creature. That was still pretty clean. Down to 7, like I said, heavily leaning towards the opponent. Probably start with the Bitter Reunion, but that means we want to start with deck thinning as well. I guess we can grab a blue source this time. Bitter Reunion, get rid of the blue source in hand. Phantom Interference. They got 7 on the board, guys. Phantom Interference could be a 2/2 that we could block the 3/1 with. I guess. But that's it. We only got 4 now. I don't know what we could have seen on the draw. I guess best case scenario is actually being able to block the 3/1. Or we could block the 1/1, take 6 down to 1. That's pretty sketchy, though. I don't know about that. Charming Scoundrel. A hasty creature forces the block onto the 3/1. If they go Wicked Roll... Okay, it's going to be Treasure Token, thank goodness. If they go Wicked Roll, then we're even further in the hole, right? Because actually keep the Overseer back. Okay, no, they do end up swinging. Yeah, they realized that they were forcing a bigger block anyways, so they went for the swing. Of course, they didn't know we had Phantom Interference, but it really felt like the opponent was playing around a surprise blocker. So we take 5. Down to 2. If we find a board wipe, I think we could be pulled back into this, but the opponent playing hasty things. 3 steps ahead. So we start with Bitter Reunion. We could find this board wipe, guys. We really could. Because we have enough mana for it. Uh-oh. Into the Flood Maw. Doesn't help in this scenario, does it? Let's grab another blue source. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a blocker with our 2/2 and Into the Flood Maw. We might be able to survive this turn, but I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, this could have been a great game for Aetherize, too, but they had some... I mean, Charming Scoundrel, they get the ETB again, but Aetherize still would have been pretty darn good here, I would say. Dowsing Device. Oh, buddy. The opponent's deck list looks pretty darn fun, doesn't it? I like it, opponent. Jeskai Artifacts. Right, so we want to... Well, that's where we want to block, I suppose. We could have paid the 5 for... Oh! They immediately get the Geode Grotto, which now they can spend... They can play another 2-mana card. 3-mana card, they have a treasure. They go for the Equip Barbed Batterfist. Mm-hmm. Oh! Oh! The -1! We're alive! Dude, alright, first of all, we're gonna go for the spirit, right? And then we still have the blue source open to bounce the 3/3. Which I suppose we'll do right now. Well, first of all, we go for the block, I guess. They still have 2 mana open, guys. I guess we could still die easily. Counterspell for the Into the Flood Maw or something. I mean, they are Jeskai, so holy cow, we're back into this with an oopsie-daisies from the opponent. Wow, Bonehoard Dracosaur. We could give it haste, keep the 3 steps ahead open still for a counterspell. I guess we should have played the mana first, just in case we needed a different counter there. Could keep a blocker too. Nah, I'll go for it. I'll just go for it. Because the opponent made an oopsie daisies as well, so... Spring-loaded Sawblade. Yeah, keeping the Dracosaur for extra value at that point would have made the most sense. But now we need to keep the 3 steps ahead to stop a hasty attack, right? So I guess overall, keeping Dracosaur and being patient would have been the best thing to do for as far as like controlling the board for a couple extra turns goes. But again, opponent made an oops. I think it's okay to do some risky things then. That's a pretty good counter, I would say. 3 mana card for 3 mana card. They only got 1 mana open now. Oh, and they find something for that 1 mana. Nurturing Pixie bounces the Sawblades back. Ill-timed explosion. Okay. Depending on what we see, we'll have 4 mana open. Really don't want to discard the 2 cards. Uh-oh. It's more mana. Oh, no. Hey, good game, opponent. It's good, though, because at least them getting rid of their Malcator didn't actually cost them the game, right? That's actually good news for the opponent, but you guys know what I mean. Oh, Dowsing Device. It also would have been a shame to pull off a control victory here. We're not really, I guess we're more mid-range, but you guys know what I mean. When we get to this point in the game, you're kind of controlling the pace. Against such a cool deck, this feels right. Is it bad that I'm rooting for the opponent? Good game, though. They want to completely play it out. They didn't know if this mountain was more spot removal. All right. 33% deck win rate so far. Guys, we can totally bring that up. Easy peasy, man. I feel like the deck list feels decent so far. And then also there, yeah, if I would have held the Dracosaur back for the turn, the Sawblades wouldn't have hit. We had no idea that second Sawblades was in the opponent's hand, but we could have guessed, right? So, yeah. There could have been a better way. Either way, though, keeping Dracosaur back, there still wasn't a guarantee that we would have found that way, right? But extra value from the Dracosaur, of course, would have helped. Opponent goes first. Oh, jeez, bro. Okay, ill-timed explosion. I like to see that. Will we get it in time? No early... We got 6 early tempo pieces. 1 mana just bounced their creature spells. None in the opener. I guess we keep this. This is another one where it would be a little bit awkward. Crap. Okay. Be a little bit of an awkward mulligan, right? But maybe not, man. Heartfire Hero on their turn 1. Lighthouse will probably be untapped on our turn 3, and so will Fabled Passage. I'm going to send the island. There's a chance that we find more mana off the top anyway, so. All right. We're in danger, bro. Manifold Mouse right on time. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, dear. So of course, this is going to come down to, will we get to our turn 4 for the ill-timed explosion, or will we top deck some of the tempo pieces that we desperately need in this early game? Bitter Reunion, I'm just going to go for it, even though keeping Negate open could be really good too. We'll want the 4 no matter what. I'm going to ditch the 3 steps ahead, which also could be a really good counter spell as well. But again, we want to be able to do something for 2 mana on turn 3 and still have a tempo piece open. I don't think it's going to matter too much here though, guys. We saw more mana off the top. The mice are coming down strong. And honestly, could die this turn, right? Monstrous Rage, the Heartfire Hero. Prowess on the Challenger. Heartfire Hero gets through for 12. Oh, actually, yeah. Then Challenger for 3. And then Manifold Mouse for 1. It's going to be a shock, though. Okay. They want to do it before the Prowess gets through. So we actually do survive the turn. There's the Unsummon. Wow. That's what I'm talking about, guys. And that's why we got rid of 3 steps ahead instead of Negate. It's good. That's good. It's good to showcase that. But I don't think we survive being at 4 because now we can unsummon Heartfire Hero, negate whatever thing that they play, but then the Challenger still gets the Prowess. So we won't get to our turn 4 again for the ill-timed explosion. It's actually going to be another Challenger anyways, so Negate misses. But Negate was still probably the pick. A better card in hand would have been just the other 2 mana counterspell then. They do have 5 on the board. We unsummon the Heartfire Hero, and I guess we need to consider more unsummons for these super aggressive deck lists. They had a shock, and that's the counterspell. And again, the Prowess still gets there. Well, the extra creature still gets there, but the Prowess still goes on to the Challengers. So see, we were still very much in danger. We did not get our turn 4 for the ill-timed explosion. So much to talk about in those aggro matches, man. A mulligan could have helped us, but we didn't know what we were up against. I feel like the hand was all right enough. That being said, if that... Ooh! Oh, look at the new kitty cat. That's so cool, man. Set as default for sure. Oh my goodness, dude. All right, mid-video pack. I got distracted. I don't know what we were talking about anymore. Mid-video pack, let's do it. 1,000-Year Storm. All right. I think that's my 3rd one now. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Guys, I really do believe in this deck list right now. I think we can end on a high note easily and maybe even end on a couple high notes depending on how many more games we get in. Let's keep the ball rolling. Roll them into some victories. Also, guys, while I have you here in the middle of the video or towards the end at this point, make sure you check out that description where we have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. Then also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well, because it really does help out the channel. So thank you guys. Aetherize. Where were you today? No, that's okay. That's okay, Aetherize. This game, right? Opponent goes first again. I'm scared. Unsummoned here, though. Maybe we should be a little less scared. Surveil for a couple turns. Bro, I saw that Verge coming down. Just like, my brain was completely convinced that Heartfire Hero was going to come down right after it. But keep the Bitter Reunion. I like that. Our turn 2 looks like Unsummon. But we still have the Surveil here. Jeez, man. Okay, very expensive things right now. I'm actually going to send the 3 steps ahead and hope I don't regret that. Okay. Even though we lost 3 in a row, too, it still kind of feels a little better than the mono red dragons, which we actually, I think we won much more with so far. Wildfire Wicker Folk. Okay. I think we bounce the Burrow Fiend. Take 1 less damage or nah? Burrow Fiend is a better tempo play. We bounce Wicker Folk and it comes back with haste next turn, and we take the 2. Or we bounce this and it doesn't come back with haste next turn. So we're saving ourselves, what, 1 point of damage? I think that's how that would work. Sarkhan not coming down for the block this turn. I think it's going to be... We'll go Fable, but we don't want to thin the deck before we actually go Bitter Reunion. And we need our top end, I would say. So maybe it's Phantom Interference. And again, that's another counterspell that I'm sending that might be a problem. Good, we got some mana. That's what we wanted to see. Now we can successfully grab a mountain off the Fabled Passage. Since we don't need more mana yet. Hopefully I'm playing this deck well enough, guys. Honestly, some of those losses could easily be coming down to me, and I just don't know it. Yikes. Okay. Okay, this is a problem. The good news is Lighthouse is coming down untapped. And the bad news is Aetherize is probably going to be forced to be open here. And it's probably only going to hit a couple creatures. Alright, grab a mountain. They just keep the 2. It must be an instant speed thing. They don't know we have Aetherize, but I guess they're playing around a board wipe. Oh, thank goodness. Into the Flood Maw is so good. Okay, good. Let's get Sarkhan down and have Into the Flood Maw then as our tempo for the Wildfire. Oh my goodness, dude. Do we need more of these? Do we need 4 of each of our Unsummon style abilities, man? That's what it feels like right now, but it's hard to say, and everyone sees a different meta too, as far as I can tell. Everyone's up against a different amount of things, and we're seeing good variety in Standard. Guys, let me know what your variety of Standard looks like in the comments. I am very interested, actually. Because, of course, we do our dandiest to build around the meta. That's pretty hard to do when you got to be ready for everything. And the only way you can be ready for everything is, like, play Golgari or something. Where's that instant speed, huh? Where's that lightning strike? We're waiting for it, opponent. You kept this open? Nothing. Alright, that's great news. Into the Flood Maw bounces the Wildfire, but Audacity does draw them a card, and they get the haste for it next turn, so we still might have to keep the Aetherize around, but we'll see. Yeah, we're not gonna play around, we're just gonna go for it. On the edge of my seat. There it is. All right, they get a draw on the Audacity. Woo, it could have been protection. They get the Wildfire back down. Fabled Passage, we play that because we need to start thinning this deck list even further. Terror of the Peaks is great. We could try to outpace them. Dracosaur, give haste. Copy with Sarkhan. We'll put them on a 2-turn clock, but what if we die next turn, right? That could happen. Terror of the Peaks might be a little bit better in that case then. But Dracosaur gives us a little bit of value. Let's go Terror of the Peaks, no swing. We'll have Terror as an emergency blocker, and we'll swing with the Sarkhan. How you guys feel about that? Instead of swinging for 10, and then next turn, our blocker is what has the target on its back. And so Terror might stick around. Oh, no. No, that's not how that would work. It depends. It depends. So we'll see what happens with this Terror. Yeah, they're looking at the Bitter Reunion like, why didn't we give it haste? And that's because we want to give haste next turn, and I hope that works out. We're going to see if we can survive the 12 damage with... Or, yeah, we're going to see if we can survive with 12 life. And then try to really just pop off the Dracosaur hitting. And Terror of the Peaks is out of here with a pop hatch formation. Opponent. That is not a card I was expecting to kill my Terror of the Peaks, man. Okay. Okay, we're in danger. Down to 9. And we have a very similar situation where we could give haste to our Dracosaur next turn. Oh, wow. What a draw. Twinflame Tyrant. GG opponent. What a draw. We were overdue for a victory and the game knew it. And the game knew it, guys. We got up to a 40% win rate. Holy cow. The victories have been coming very hard. Guys, we're going to end on a high note because so far, for all the videos I recorded this week, it's been rough, man. It's been rough. Just end on a high note and be happy about it, right? That was pretty sick. Yeah, there's my third 1,000-year storm. That revisit will be coming at some point. And a more control version of it probably. But anyways, deck list. Here it is again. Huh. Yeah. Number one, guys, I don't play a lot of blue. I don't know how to play counter spells very well, and I've been practicing. I hope it shines through a little bit. But these could be your counter spells of choice easily. Just remember, 3 Steps Ahead is also in here to copy our top-end dragons. Same thing as the Sarkhan. We're going to play it as a 4-mana card sometimes as well. And the interference is chosen for the tempo side of things where we're flying in with other creatures. So flying in with a 2/2 flyer also makes a lot of sense, especially when kind of like trying to tempo out the opponent a little bit with Aetherize, Unsummon, and Into the Flood Maw. Aetherize, bro. Where were you, man, huh? And honestly, even if you showed up Aetherize, we were going to struggle against some of those aggro deck lists where both of the super aggro mouse decks, we didn't get our turn for anyways. And even if we were able to do a little bit more early on, it would have meant having Into the Flood Maw or Unsummon in our opening hand already, which maybe we want 4 of each of them. I don't know. That's tough. What do we drop? Bitter Reunion down to 2. Go up a 3rd Into the Flood Maw would be the start. That being said, if we missed a Bitter Reunion in that last game, we wouldn't have been able to give haste to the Twinflame Tyrant. Wait, wouldn't have mattered. They were at 12, right? The double Tyrants, 3 would have doubled to 6. 6 would have doubled to 12. I think they were at 12. It wouldn't have mattered if we gave haste to the Tyrant, actually. I really like this split of top-end dragons. We're not leaning any way or another, but I'll tell you what, if we were leaning, maybe we need to lean more into the Twinflame Tyrant side of things, huh? Now, all of these are actually mythic too, so just a nice even split, and this is what I'm going to say about the Do Not Craft list. Do Not Craft, I would say that's probably about right, because you want to craft a little bit less. If this looked like the most freaking fun you'd ever have in Standard, it'd be worthwhile building. However, very expensive. So what you want to do is you want to look at your collection and base it off of that. Is what I mean, right? If you have 3 Twinflame Tyrants, but you only got 1 Dracosaur, don't craft the 2nd Dracosaur. Put in that 3rd Twinflame Tyrant, right? And that probably goes for everything on the top end. If you just so happen to have 4 Terror of the Peaks because you rocked Gruul Surprise in the past and now you're looking for a new build for Terror, rock all 4 Terror of the Peaks in here and don't craft the Twinflame Tyrants. That's a new one, and it was really good today, first of all. But like, yeah, craft a little bit less, base it on your collection, and base it off of your meta too. And so like maybe Incinerator of the Guilty isn't looking that great for you, and you just need more early stuff. You could drop both of them, go up those other 2 Into the Flood Maws, because you desperately need them against the mouse builds and stuff, or Boros Auras, or all the other super aggressive builds. You just need early tempo to survive, long enough to get your ramp on the board, long enough to ramp into that incredible top end, or just long enough to survive for an ill-timed explosion to come out right on time, right? That also works. A few things, guys. Incinerator of the Guilty is... I was about to say main build around. It's not. Dragons was the main build around, right? But there's a lot in here that is specific for the collect evidence of the Incinerator. Bitter Reunion, for one, sends things to the grave, right? But then also Thundering Falls being the choice land in here for Surveil. Also sends things to the grave if you need to collect evidence on the Incinerator, but then also 3 Steps Ahead with the draw side of the 3 Steps Ahead also sends things to the grave too, right? If you're doing all that and you actually have nothing to do in your graveyard, it might be a little awkward. And at that point too, that's why you could trade out the Thundering Falls for like the Scry land if you have them and stuff like that too. Another reason to say craft a little bit less, right? But always keep an eye on reprints and whatnot. Fabled Passage, I'm rocking an old version because, of course, I don't want to craft the new version from Bloomborough, I believe it was. I still think I have 0 versions of the Bloomborough Fabled Passage. Either way, always keep an eye on your collection. There was some reprints in... I guess we don't have any rare reprints from Foundations here, unless Twinflame Tyrant was a reprint that I don't know about. That's possible. Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind was a reprint, but that's just a common, so that's not too much of a concern. But either way, keep an eye on your collection, right? This is really fun, really cool. I don't know if I'm going to trade anything out. 40% win rate means I should, but I think more testing is required. I think if we kept playing, I think we could pull off some more victories and some more really cool victories too. And this was a lot of fun. Even though I complained a little bit that the victories are hard to come by this week, been really satisfied with the deck lists overall. They've been really neat, so that's good at least, right? Guys, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. What would you add or take out? What should I balance a little bit based on what we saw today in the video too, right? Like, I'm looking at those extra Into the Flood Maws like they might be a necessity, and that might be the case. Oh, real quick too, the even split made a lot of sense. Even though it's technically leaning blue a little bit, it's not really, right? And there's still going to be moments where even though you're leaning blue, you still want the early red to be able to trade out for Bitter Reunion, which of course can help you find the mana that you need anyways. The 12 or the 8 dual lands plus the 4 Fabled Passage helping us mana fix was really good too. 24 mana felt right. I wouldn't go up to 25. There's going to be moments where you're sweating to find your 4th mana, but with the Sarkhan ramp and the Carnelian Orb, and also just being able to survive for a couple turns after your 3rd, if you're still looking for your 4th anyways, I think that's very possible that we're still going to be able to survive. And then also, again, Bitter Reunion, trading you out, finding the mana anyways too, so... Negate also, guys, could probably just be a 4th Phantom Interference. You'd probably be okay. Probably. Again, I don't know much about counterspells. I do my best, but these can all be your counterspells of choice still. So, whoop, buddy. Okay, I guess I had a lot more to say than I thought, right? Either way, thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next video.